and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have interesting strangers on every single week and fresh off a mural. You know that because you're still covered in paint.
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself real quick?
Okay. I'm Liz Flores, and I'm a painter and muralist here in Chicago.
Is that what you lead with usually? Painter and muralist if you're introducing?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is a muralist second for a reason? Is it because you paint just... painter is general and murals is more specific?
Yeah, because painter is like my canvas work and stuff, and then works on paper, and then murals are obviously murals, so that's different. Yeah. So sometimes people they paint, but they don't do murals.
Sure.
And
you seem very mural. It's such a hard word for me to say. Mural heavy right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I am mural heavy right now, but my like studio practice, meaning my paintings, are just as important, which I think is why I always lead with I'm a painter. Yeah, keep it general
rather than specific.
And because it's not just murals that is my art practice. So
yeah, you sell regular paintings and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
I saw on Instagram that you just sold one recently.
Did. Yeah, it's going to a restaurant, which is pretty cool. Yeah, in Phoenix.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you ever go to these places that have your paintings at them and be just sort of sit there?
Yeah, I haven't. I want to. I actually thought somebody asked me that too. They're like, are you going to go to Phoenix? I'm like, I would love to.
Just sit in the restaurant?
Just go, yeah.
Guys, look at this. Yeah. Isn't this cool?
I painted that. Just FYI.
I did it.
Yeah, don't even order anything. Yeah. Just sit there.
You can go now. Yeah. That's all. I just wanted to tell you that. Yeah, that's really cool though, especially around Chicago, because... How many murals have you done around Chicago?
So this is my first year painting murals.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had a hot mural year then.
I had a very good year.
Because how many is it this year that you've done?
I think I've done
the ones I saw were at Hawthorne Mall, Lululemon.
Yeah, Sephora.
You did one in Brooklyn.
I did one in Brooklyn. I'm doing one now.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm forgetting something, but
it's a lot though in one year.
Yeah, no, it is, especially to be so new to it. I kind of just went right out of the gate, just
sprinting.
Going. Yeah. And then one project just led to the other, and I never said no to anything. So,
is that sort of a common practice for you in general? You just never say no to anything? Is that a theme in your life?
In the beginning, yeah. When I'm first starting off with something, I just want to get as much experience doing it.
Which
obviously
makes sense.
Yeah, and then once you start kind of learning the business of it, then you're okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense.
Sure.
So now I do say no to some projects that just don't make sense. But
I was gonna say, does that get you into trouble ever, where you just say yes to so much stuff and you don't actually have time to do it?
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. What do you do? Just be
you don't sleep and you just work.
That's a bummer.
I know. Then you're why did I say yeah?
That's way too many. Yeah.
Oh, Berwyn too. I can't forget that. I did a mural in Berwyn. It's where I grew up too. So.
Berwyn. Where's Berwyn?
It's a suburb right outside Chicago, near Cicero and Oak Park.
Okay. Where'd you do it there?
So that one was kind of interesting because it's a there are these freestanding murals.
Okay.
So they gave a bunch of different artists these I think they're 8 feet or something. These wood panels to paint on. Okay. And then we gave them the wood panels when we were done, and then they were put them up, and it's all along the Metra train route.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in the Berwyn area. So
nice.
I know. I still have to go home and see it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I know, and I always take the Metro home, and I just haven't gone home. I know.
It's the easiest one to do because you can just literally ride the train and go.
And it's a 15-minute Metro ride from Union Station.
Yeah, you got to get the picture at least for Instagram. I know. Otherwise, it didn't happen.
I know. I posted all of these in progress shots, and then I finished it, and then I had to run to the next project, and I didn't even post a finished.
Yeah, that's the least satisfying thing ever.
I know. I was sweet, I'm done. I don't have time.
I gotta go.
Yeah,
Fine, on to the next one.
I'll post it later. So, so that one too. So I have to take a picture of that. But
yeah, because it's very interesting. When I was looking up your story and stuff, there was no really intent to be an artist doing that full time, coming out of school.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and is it because your parents and stuff instilled sort of like a real 9 to 5 clock in, clock out kind of job? Is that the reason, or was it internal?
I think it's like maybe like a mixture of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like just myself, I was like, I mean, I just never pictured anybody being an artist.
Well, that also wasn't something, at least, because how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, I'm 28. So like growing up in school, it was never something that was like told, like you can be an artist as a job.
And you don't see that. Like you don't meet like artists that are alive and like doing good work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like social media has now made that a lot easier. But like back like when we were in school, we did not have that. So it's like that you had to like really be intentional about seeking that out, which like I wasn't. I was really into art and I wanted to study art, but like my parents were just like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And so, which I also was like, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know,
they're all
like,
dead. All the professionals have died.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to be dead to make any money. So like, that just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I studied entrepreneurship and like business and stuff. So, but like, I did really not have any intention of like really starting a business. Like I just kind of liked that field.
Right.
And then I had like a job offer right out of college with like just a regular 9 to 5 job. And I was like, great. And then I was like, oh, this sucks. This is actually terrible.
It didn't suck because what reasons do you think? Why did you hate that specifically?
Well, I loved the people that I worked with. It wasn't like anything like that. It just was like the overall idea of like, I go to a place and I do this work that doesn't really feel important to me.
It was like monotonous.
Yes. And it really wasn't I don't know, just like I just felt like all my strong suits, like the things that I'm like good at, like all this like creativity,
being taken advantage of?
And none at all. If anything, it was like the worst things I was like the worst, like math and numbers. And I was like, this is not like, I'm not going to survive here. Like this is not good.
How long did you make it at the job before you?
I was there for 3 years.
Wow, that's a good chunk of time.
Yeah. But I was doing a bunch of art stuff all while I was doing that.
Okay.
And so I kind of was like, okay, the 9 to 5 is like pushing the art forward, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Because I was able to get like a studio space in the city, like to work on my art. And so I would do that after work. I went to like New York a bunch and did traveling and stuff. And like I would have never been able to do that without the 9 to 5 financing all that.
But that's also just like a lot of time outside of actual work doing other stuff. So it's like you don't have time to do anything else pretty much.
No.
Or barely have time to do that really.
Yeah. No, I know. I remember being like, man, like I haven't like everyone goes to happy hour and stuff. I was like, I've been to like
just skip it.
a happy hour like forever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never like see like, I would never really see my coworkers outside of work. Like, because you're like, I have to go home. I have to, because I was living with my parents still when I was at this 9 to 5. So like go back to Berwyn, you know, get my car and then drive back to the city to my art studio to work on my art at night. Yeah. And so I was like, I do not have time. I'm like, I barely have time to go to my like yoga class that I want to go to. So it's just like priorities, but do you think time though that has like changed at all? Because based on what you were telling me before we were recording, that you don't really have any time now either. So it's more like just time, ebb and flow,
just doing stuff that you like though. Yeah, more often.
Exactly, it's different. Like when I was in my 9 to 5, I remember like being. Like those chunks of hours, like those, 8 hours that you're working. It
felt like a waste of time.
I just remember being like, oh my God, I could get so much done in this time.
Yeah.
Like I could be doing so much so that I can have a life later, and that I can go do things. And like, and that I think aggravation like just kind of built up. And like eventually I was like, I just have to like leave.
Yeah. What was the turning point? What was like after 3 years? How did you pick a specific day that you're like, I'm done. Now I'm done. Like,
I was like, if I don't quit, like someone's going to be like, what does she do? And I'm going to get fired.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, like I said, I really liked, I liked the people that I worked with and everything. And and I felt, it's like, it sucks when you see people that are actually passionate and you're not, and they're doing really good. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I just wasn't, I don't know. I just was like, I don't want to leave on a bad note. Right. And I've been working, I had already been like working on my art for a while. I was like, I'm young. I don't have, like, I was still living with my parents at the time. Like, all of these things, I was like, I really don't have too much to risk right now. Like, let's just do it. I don't, I was also just like, it was like 3 years of just being really frustrated and seeing everybody else like going out and doing these things and opportunities. And there were so many times when I wanted to go out and do something, but it was like, oh, but we need it during this time. And I'm like, I'm working. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I know it's time to like just leave. So I just got kind of, ultimately fed up. And I was like, let's just do that. And I was like, if it doesn't work out, you'll see me here in 6 months.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
So when you did that and like went home to your parents, did you give your 2 weeks notice, or were you like, I'm done now forever? Like,
no, I gave my 2 weeks notice. Yeah. And then I told my parents after I gave my 2 weeks notice.
Yeah. Were they like, what are you doing?
Oh my God, yeah. I was, my dad.
Were you scared to tell them in the first place?
Terrified.
I bet, yeah.
I was like, I'm going to need to move out immediately. Like, I'm terrified.
Can't live here anymore.
Yeah. My dad was in his office, and then I was like, hey, Dad, like, I talked to you about something. And he was like, and it's like the office where it's like, this is the office where every time I had a bad grade, I had to like come in here and be like, hey, Dad. Can
you come out of the office and talk to me out here to the kitchen?
Like, it just was like, oh, man. I was like, I have had a lot of bad memories, where you're getting yelled at. And so, and then I was like, well, I'm like quitting the Orange Group. I already put my 2 weeks notice in. And he was like, my mom's name is Lisette. And he was like, Lisette, get in here. And he was like, listen to what your daughter has to say. I was like,
I tell her now too.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be an artist.
Yeah,
that's what I said, and they were like, okay, like, what's your plan? Blah blah blah. Yeah, and like, I don't know. To be honest, I really did not have a good, strong plan. I just was like, I'm gonna try.
Well, at least you were doing it beforehand. It wasn't like I'm gonna quit now and then gonna start
and
trying.
then gonna try like researching and whatever. Right. Like I had already been talking to a lot of artists and stuff, and like figuring out how people make a living, and sort of, put their lives together. And so I guess I kind of had an idea, but like you don't have there's no solid structure.
Sure.
So that was really hard. It was really hard for my parents to like be like 100% okay.
Yeah.
They are now that I've had like so many times of like, look, yay, I'm making money.
Look at I'm doing this. I'm fine. Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely hard for them. And like my dad's Mexican and my mom's Cuban. And so like, they are just like, we're hoping for like a solid, something solid, right. Like, and so,
something we can tell people and they can be like, oh yeah, that's good.
Yes, exactly. I mean? And I think that was so hard for them. For a while, like for the 3 years that I had my corporate job, like, they would like, talk to their friends and be like, oh, our daughter Elizabeth, like, they call me Elizabeth too.
Wow, that's
they don't
very
call
formal.
me Liz. Yeah.
Who calls you Liz then?
I mean, everybody calls me Liz.
Okay.
Only my parents and like certain family members, they call me Elizabeth.
Wow.
I know.
It's so horrible.
I know. and my mom will be like, your father says.
Really?
Yes.
You live in like a fairy tale?
It's like, I'm like, okay, yeah, Dad said that. Got it.
Yeah.
And but they were like, our daughter works here and she does this, and be like, oh, okay. And then I noticed that, when I quit my job, that
they didn't want to talk about it anymore?
No.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we have a daughter over there.
Because it's almost like you have to reach this level of success where like even they know before they tell them that you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like insane.
Yes.
It's like you have to be like Van Gogh level.
Exactly.
So they already know who you are. Your cousins already know you're really successful.
Yes.
And your parents can just reinforce that.
Exactly. And it's like, it's just not having like a clear definition. I realize like people get very uncomfortable when they just can't grasp what you do immediately.
Yeah.
And like, if you're just like, well, I'm an artist.
People are like, so is everyone.
Yeah. They're like, okay, but what do you really do?
Yeah.
You know, like they just don't. Though? Yeah. And, or they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by that? There's no way that you're like just painting. Like there's just no way.
Bullshit.
Show me the proof.
Yeah.
And so, so I think that was like kind of hard in the beginning for sure.
Yeah, that is hard. Cause I mean, that's just a classic parent thing. I've heard that from so many people,
Yeah.
It's like, my younger sister is an actress. Like that's what she does. she like works another job part-time, but like the main thing she wants to do is like, you know, so she does like plays and musicals and all that stuff. But it's hard to like explain that to someone without it sounding like you aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is nuts because you're probably working more than anybody else.
Yeah, probably. And you're
like,
trying to do something that you really love. So like,
yeah, like I don't get it.
Doesn't that count for more?
No. Yeah, I don't get it at all. I know. And when people are like, well, like you just get to like stay home and paint. And like, sure, some days, yeah. But like, no, there's just so much that goes into it. You're literally running. I mean, if that's what you're like your art and stuff, if that's what you want to like live off of, then you're like running a business.
Sure.
So there's a million things that go into it.
Yeah. I mean, I work in like photography and video and stuff. And if I tell someone that I do that, for some reason, there's like a different level of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes more concrete sense to them for some reason.
Yeah.
Rather than saying like, if I was like to approach and be like, I'm an artist. Because I mean, I guess I could say that, you know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
But if I said that, there would probably be a different reaction, which is weird. You know, I don't know why that is. Like because you have technology or use technology for it, like upgrades your status.
I think so. Yeah. Because when you're making things with your hands, they're like
primitive.
Yeah.
Not real.
Nope. If it's not factory made, it's not for me.
Get it out of here. Get it from Target, or I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only IKEA.
Yeah, it's the best
for us. Yeah.
But no, that is interesting because you gave an entire TED talk basically about this, about your process of like quitting your job and like pursuing what you wanted to do. Which is really cool. But like there was there's been a lot of TED Talks. Yeah. You know, but I feel like not a lot of people have done them.
Yeah.
I can't point to another person that I've ever met in my life that has done one other than you now.
Oh, cool.
But it's such a cool experience, I'm sure. Like, how did you get that? You did it at your college alma mater.
Yeah. Illinois State. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is close to where I went to school too.
Yep.
So how was that? Yeah. What was that experience like?
Oh my God, that was so crazy. Because I think that was like, I think I had just quit my job, I believe. And so like there was like just like a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
But it came about because like in those 3 years that I was like doing art and like stuff like that, I had a blog and I was like blogging a lot about the whole kind of experience.
What year was this? Like what years would be?
This would be like 2012, 2013, 2014.
Okay. All right.
And so, so I had a blog. I was like writing a lot. I was getting on Instagram, but I wasn't like on it, like how I am now. And my professor, my entrepreneurship professor, like was, I guess, reading my blog and like, you know, and like following along. And he would be like, yeah, like this is so great that you want to like do art and pursue like, you know, more kind of entrepreneurial career and stuff like that. And so he was just kind of following along with like that journey. And then he was like the contact for the TED conference and like the TEDx thing. And so
what's the difference between like a TEDx and a TED Talk? Is there any difference?
So yes, there's a difference.
Okay.
So TEDx is like independently like curated like TED Talks. Okay. So any they have TEDx Talks like in Chicago and like I mean, I get like schools and stuff like that. So it's somebody that wants to bring that whole like kind of idea of TED, like having speakers and stuff, to like another place. Oh. And then TED
is like in
like
one
the
place.
whole TED. So it's like the TED is like the umbrella, and then the TEDx is like all these individual conferences that happen like around the country. Yeah. And so like so the TED one is like the big one. That's like the, you know, people who are like insanely crazy speakers on the speaker circuit, you know, and just
Brene Brown.
Brown. I was just thinking Brene Brown.
It's the only one I know.
Brene Brown, like I don't know, maybe Elizabeth Gilbert's in there, but so he contacted me because he's like, we are doing a TEDx, and we're putting together like, and you had to apply to be a speaker and like kind of pitch an idea and stuff like that. But he was like, I just think that you have a great story. Like you don't worry about pitching anything. Like just, would you want to do it?
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, oh, I was in a boardroom at the time too. I was in a meeting.
Cool.
like messaging.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, yes.
Trying to like pretend you're paying attention.
Yeah, I was like, mm-hmm. And I was like,
Definitely.
oh my God. I was like, okay, TED Talk, yes. So I sent that. And then that was like, he was like, you know, it's going to be, I had like almost a year to like kind of preparing and stuff.
Wow.
So, so I was like, okay, like, cool. You know, you say yes, and then you're like, I said yes, I'm going to do this, and you know, and then
you just start getting nervous. Yeah.
Yeah. When it actually started to come up, I was so terrified.
Because it's like, how long is it? Like 15 minutes?
So it depends. Some of them are like 15. I think ours were a lot shorter. It was like 8 minutes or something, which that sometimes is even worse because you have so much to say, but and they are really strict with like time. And so you have like a big
they just cut you to black in mid-sentence.
Yeah, right. You have like a big time thing in the front, and you have people like trying like to give you cues like on where you're at and stuff, and then I don't even know. And so it's funny going from that, and then I did a creative mornings talk that was like I think like 40 minutes maybe or so, 45 minutes.
Wow, that's a long time.
Like I know. I was like, okay, this is crazy. Like the difference. But so for that one, the way I like whenever I'm doing any kind of speaking thing, I do Post-it notes, and that's how I like flow my talk out.
Okay.
Like I have ideas of like what I want to say, and I'm like, you know, this, and I just write them on Post-it notes in like a flow. Okay. And I'm like, okay, and then I like take my computer and like look at that and then type it out. My like dialogue out. Yeah. And then for my slides, I drew my slides, and they were like these little cartoon characters. Yeah. And so it ended up being awesome. It was a blast, but I felt like I was gonna be sick before I went up there.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna.
You're getting filmed too, and you only got one. Do you only get one shot?
One shot. That's it.
That's terrible.
I know. And then like it's like spotlight, and like you're stand on the big dot. You know, like and like. Oh my God. And then they had like little earpieces and stuff. And
take her away. It's been 8 minutes. Get her off the stage.
Get off. And they couldn't fit it in my ear because they were like, your ears are too small.
Classic.
I know.
Classic small ears. Is that a comment you ever had?
Right?
Your ears are too small.
I was like, what do you mean? And so they had to like tape it up like all here. Wow. And I just put my hair down and like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I have the exact opposite problem with like headphones where it's like they always fall out of my ears because I think my ears are too big.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't tell I got headphones on, but if you could, wow. So after that, did you see any sort of response like from the public? How many views does it have? Have you checked? Like,
I actually haven't checked.
No? Was there a lot before? You never have checked?
I think I maybe checked like once. I don't know. Whenever I do something, I feel like I leave it and I don't really go back.
Don't go back. Yeah, like your Berwyn mural.
Yeah, right. Like I'm done. I'm gone.
Done. I gotta get out of here.
I don't know. I think it got a fair amount of views. I had a lot of people email me after that.
That was like pure like the height of TED, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's come down a little bit.
A little bit. Now there's a lot of talks and stuff. Right. And so
you hit them at the right time though.
Yeah, I think so. And well, I think like there's also a lot of talks that are about like quitting your job. And like I also think like that, I don't know, just the story like was at a good time. And so I had a lot of people like reach out to me about it. Like, I mean, that they loved it or that they were in a similar situation. Or that
you could say it like they hated it.
No.
Like they loved it or they hated it. They just emailed it to me.
No, I haven't gotten anyone say that they hated it. But
that's good.
I guess, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't tell me. But and then I had like other speaking engagements like come from that, like creative mornings. So it's kind of weird. It's like that talk kind of keeps giving back and like, but it's like, it'll be like 2 years from now, somebody will also come across it and be like, you should come speak, you know? Yeah. And so it kind of just keeps giving back.
It's like an audition tape, you know? Yeah, now they know you can.
Exactly. So, no, exactly. That's actually exactly kind of what it is. Yeah. So, so that has kind of been interesting to see like years later, people like will contact me and still be like, hey, we like came across this talk. You should give a talk. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, sure.